Hey everybody! So in today's video I'm gonna answer a question I've been getting quite a lot lately, and that is how I keep my clay so clean. I think most people who have used polymer clay knows just how difficult this can be, but if you keep on watching I'm gonna show you some of my best ways to avoid this problem. Number one. Okay, so this is pretty basic, but it's also really important. You need to make sure that the surface you're working on is perfectly clean. I actually never work directly on my desk because even though it might look clean, it can still have dust on it. So instead I just take a normal paper. If it's the one on the top, I just flip it over and now you have a very clean surface to work on. You can also use the paper for making little sketches, and it's also great for mixing colors and glazing. Number two. So just like with the last one, this is a really simple but still a really important thing. You need to make sure that you wash your hands. I like to first take out all the things I'm gonna need. I take out the tools and the clay, and then I wash my hands, and by doing this I make sure that I don't touch anything else before I start working with the clay. Number three. Make sure that you never touch fabric while working with the clay. Especially dark fabric is going to leave you with these tiny fabric fiber particle things on your fingers, and once that gets on your clay, well, it's not gonna look that great. So just make sure that you never touch fabric while you're working with the clay, and also if you're having a dark towel, it can be a good idea to let your hands air dry or use a paper towel instead. Number four. Dust and dirt are not the only things that can get into your clay. It can also be a problem when you're working with many colors, especially when you're going from dark colors to lighter ones. But you can solve this problem either by washing your hands a lot or by wearing gloves. But I find that a little bit inconvenient, so what I do instead is that I always start with lighter colors and I end with the darker ones. For example, if I were to make a cupcake, I'd start with the icing, then I'd make the muffin part, then the leaf for the strawberry, then the cupcake base, and then the strawberry. And just to show you how well this works, here's what happens if you do it the other way around. Number five. This is something that I actually forget a lot, and that is that your hands and the surface you're working on are not the only things that needs to be clean. You also need your tools to be clean. Before I use my knife, I always scrape it off on the paper to make sure that it doesn't have anything on it, and I do the same thing with my dotting tools. Sometimes I also take a piece of paper to reach in the space in here. And before I start glazing, I take just a little bit of glaze on my brush and try it out on the paper to make sure that it doesn't have anything on it. Number six. I never let my clay just lay out on the desk if I'm not working with it. Even if your room might seem clean, there is always gonna be some dust in the air and that can get into your clay. So what I do is that I store my clay in an airtight metallic jar, and that is just going to keep the clay a bit fresher and cleaner. Number seven. Okay, so this is the best tip that I can give you, and ever since I started doing this, my charms have been so much cleaner. So what I do is that when I get dirt or dust on the surface of my clay, I just let it stay there and I bake it. And once your clay has hardened, you just take a knife and scrape off the dirt. You want to be really careful when doing this. Definitely make sure that you never cut anything off. You just want to scrape the surface really gently. And once you learn how to do this, you can actually get really good results with this technique. So yeah, that was all of the tips I had for you guys in this video. I do all of these things when I'm working with polymer clay, and I think it works pretty good. If you have some tricks on how to keep your clay clean that I didn't mention in this video, you can leave a comment below and let me know. I hope you found this video helpful and that you maybe learned something new. Have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!